So next up we have a few speakers talking about why to invest in STEM and first outreach from the FRC Team 1816, the Green Machine. Hi guys, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Have you guys been watching any of the presentations so far?
A few.
Mhm.
Have you enjoyed
really
any?
enjoyed the FTC presentation actually on machine learning earlier. That was really good.
Yeah, it was a very interesting presentation. Are you guys ready to get started?
Are.
Cool, take it away.
All right. Hi, we are Team 1816, the Green Machine, and we are located in Edina, Minnesota, a suburb of Minneapolis, and this is the hows and whys of STEM and or first outreach. I'm Sam, a rising junior, an assistant captain, and the business lead.
I'm Sarah. I'm a rising senior and I'm a build lead.
I'm Ian. I'm a rising junior, and I'm the other assistant captain for next year.
Overall, we'll be discussing the why do STEM outreach, how to select outreach events that include your mission, vision, and core values, the purpose of outreach, who decides where we go to, when to do outreach, and what to bring.
So the first thing we want to talk about is why teams should do STEM outreach. The main question I think and our team thinks is a great question to ask yourself before you even start doing STEM outreach is, would you do first outreach if first did not connect it through the awards? Outreach matters both on a larger scale level and on a smaller scale local level because it helps teams develop critical thinking, problem solving, and presentation skills that they wouldn't really normally get in a robotics-based environment. So many people come into our shop and are expecting just a bunch of just robots, but that's not really all that first teams do. And it's important that STEM outreach is a vehicle through which you demonstrate this and improve those skills. STEM outreach also allows teams to make a difference in their community, foster growth of robotics programs, and obtain actual legislative impact through STEM lobbying, through grassroots organizing, and through other activities that can boost community appreciation of STEM. Overall, it promotes robotics and STEM engagement on local, state, and national level.
Team 1816's mission is to create bold and confident leaders who transform culture to promote, value, and celebrate STEM. This is important to us because it defines what we will gain as a Green Machine member, as well as how we will impact others while attending and completing outreach events.
Our vision is to bring FIRST to new audiences, to be a role model of gracious professionalism, and to use our experience to expand FIRST and make FIRST available to all. So we have something called core values, which are respect, trust, inclusivity, commitment, and joy of life. Respect refers to respecting others, your places of work. Trust refers to trusting your teammates and all the decisions they make. Inclusivity is making sure everyone is included. Commitment is to be committed to your team and all your team members. And joy of life is just to always have fun and love what you do on the team. And so while some teams may not directly write down their video values, I'm sure that these apply to all teams and are important to them, are important with them. So developing core values is a meaningful way to develop insight into their teams and further their mission within FIRST.
So we were coming off a very rough season in 2016, and as a team, we used a team retreat in October 2017 to launch an in-depth discussions about our team culture, to determine the essence of the Green Machine, and to develop this into core values of the team. In the previous hour, Yoji presented about the core values process as a whole and its importance. But this is just a shortened version of the process, and we think it is necessary to cover it as it is an important part of our outreach events. So firstly, every member and mentor of the team brainstorms values that they believe represent the team and culture. Normally, you'll just take a long list of values and you just pick a few out, and each person picks a few and puts it in the group, a big pile. And secondly, the students will have the ability to discuss and vote for the select values that embody their team. So after putting them all into a group, then you just pick a few that shortens or makes a group smaller of all the values. And then thirdly, you pick the values, like the final ones, and you have a smaller group, which is what we did, that defines what they actually mean and write down what they mean to you and your team. And fourthly, we encourage you to abide by these values and identify different ways you can exercise them in your community. And although you may be on the team and you're going to outreach events, this does not mean that you only use the core values at your outreach events. This also means that you follow them while you're not with a team and while you're just doing your normal daily stuff to represent your team well.
So a good portion of actually doing a STEM outreach event is knowing how to select outreach events that are both meaningful to your team and make a good use of your time. There's a lot of outreach events out there, and we'll touch on this more later in the presentation, but choosing the best outreach event for your team is a very important step because it's the main thing your team is going to be known for. Actions speak louder than words. I know it's a cliche statement, but with outreach, it really is true. Where you put your time and energy is going to speak loudly about your team. For us, it starts with our mission, our vision, and our core values. And we have rejected things because it hasn't fit in with some of those. A good example is an annual cleanup of a local park. We did that for several years, and eventually we actually stopped doing that and passed on the opportunity to our team because it didn't fit in with our mission of making first available for all, and it didn't exactly fit into our core values either. And so you want to be very careful about where you put your time and making sure that it sticks in with your values as a team.
Another thing that is very significant when determining outreach events is the purpose. So a couple of main questions you want to ask yourself is first, what is the purpose? The purpose can vary from different things, like to spread STEM to kids who are unfamiliar with it or don't get access to it in school, or to show sponsors what you're doing with their money, and to show members of the community their finished robot and just show them an opportunity to see a robot up close. And also you have to look at who do you want to reach out to? So if you're wanting to reach out to kids, that's like you'd like to do outreach that kind of helps to spread STEM and demonstrates it to these kids. Or if you're reaching out to companies, might want to do a robot demo and reach out to, and so the purpose varies differently to who you want to reach out to. Next, what kind of impact you want to have? Again, it differs between what kind of outreach event you want to have. Like with outreach event showing STEM to little kids, you maybe would hope to inspire many to find and pursue their passion because they might not have access to STEM in school. Or within the companies, you want to just show what you guys have done with their contributions. And this kind of ties into what kind of outreach event. So like with STEM activities that might be pushed towards kids who don't have access to it in schools. A demo could just show general robotics and all this like a final build and what the sponsors' money have gone towards. And so kind of the purpose depends based on what kind of outreach event you choose to do.
All right, who decides and where to start? What we have found that works well is that outreach events are decided by the team leads, the mentors, and democracy of the whole team. Personally, our team finds outreach events through support of local businesses, with connections with sponsors, and working with underrepresented populations, such as People Serving People, which is a transitional housing for families without homes. And we just always try to involve community with the program.
Next, you want to look at whether this event would be a good fit. So you would like to conduct a fit test because not every opportunity that's offered, you will not say yes to every single opportunity. So first, you want to look at if this event will fit your team schedules. Often our robotics teams are very busy, so it might single out a outreach event just because you guys cannot make it. You want to look at if this will match your goals for an event. Is the outreach who are you trying to appeal your event to? Are you trying to look towards kids, towards adults, towards companies? And so you can see where you want to go and see if this will match your goals. Next, what other outreach does this company/organization do? And so that relates to alignment with your goals of your team as well. So if the company does outreach in areas that you don't really support or doesn't align with your vision, then that could also be a great reason to say no, or a great reason to say yes as well. And also you have to consider what kind of activities would be needed at this event. Like if you're appealing to children, then they want activity and entertainment, like these STEM activities or a close-up look at or in playing with your robot. And then adults, you kind of want to, it's best to bring like brochures and information about your team. Like, for example, I have our robotics, our green machine brochure with us. So we kind of, you can tell this is when appealing to adults and businesses, that kind of helps. And then next, this kind of ties into what other outreach does the organization/company do. But would this fit your team's mission, vision, and core values? If the company or organization stands for something that you guys don't stand for in your mission or vision, then that is a great way to say no. And if it doesn't fit your vision, or if it does, that's also a great way to see if it would be a great fit.
All right. STEMtoberfest. So STEMtoberfest is in October, and it is time for outreach that focuses on bringing FIRST and STEM, particularly our introductory engineering and design and build skills to children who have limited access. These pictures specifically were 2 weeks of outreach for our team at a transitional housing place called People Serving People. That is for families who do not have homes. In the left picture, our teammate Kennedy is working with a kid playing Legos and games. On the right is actually me, and I'm playing Connect 4 with another kid who I was buddied up with. Along with playing games and playing Legos with the kids, we also helped them with any homework and learning that they had. Also, we did a modified Lego League for these kids to give them an opportunity to connect them to FIRST and to hopefully include them into the great world of robotics that there is. This fits with our mission and core values because we are making STEM available to all, as well as being inclusive to every kid who shows up and every kid who has a desire to be in robotics.
So another event that is a great opportunity for FIRST robotics teams are community gatherings. In our state, a great community gathering is the Minnesota State Fair. You might have something similar to this in your area. It's basically an event where a bunch of people get together, they have fried food, a lot of activities, events, and it's basically just a whole statewide kind of festival, right? What's interesting is that these activities, at least here, actually have a STEM area. So what we did last year was we actually participated in demoing a robot and a mini mock little game with the other robots, as well as showed off a robot and showed off what FIRST meant. These are really great opportunities to get back into your community and encourage more people to join FIRST and to support STEM. We often forget that STEM outreach, STEM lobbying doesn't just revolve around the people who are your representatives, who can write you a check. It's also the people who are directly in your community that are willing to support those representatives and those legislation, as well as just allow their kids to join the program. FIRST is a really tremendous opportunity for a lot of people. And oftentimes all that people want to do is get into it. And this is a great way to show what it's about, show parents what they can expect from it, as well as just get kids invested in the program and having a great experience like we've all had. So this is one of my favorite outreach events for that reason. And if you have similar events in your area, I would highly recommend trying to see if there's a place you can demo your robot. I know we even walk in the parade at the fair, so it's a really fun time. But it's also a great way to get back in your community and get more people interested in FIRST and STEM.
Sponsorship demos are also a great way to outreach to companies. So the first picture on the left is a picture of our Power Up robot at a Seagate sponsorship, who is our Seagate demo, and they are one of our longtime sponsors. So sponsorship demos are a great way to show companies where their contributions are going, show them the finished project, a robot that has many skills and can interact with people. And so these demos don't always apply, or it can help, not only can it help build long-time relations, but it can also show if you're not yet acquainted with the companies, it can be a great way to acquaint and start building a relationship. And so the picture on the right is a picture at a Global Medtronic Women's Networking event. So this kind of relates back to the good fit slide. So because it was a women's networking event, we chose a team of all girls to come and show the robot and show that and show our contributions that we had within the team. And so Medtronic has been a long-time sponsor, and we were able to show them where their money has been going and all the output that we have been able to do, and just have a general robot that can interact with the people.
So another event that's that we do that I might recommend to other teams to seek out is our area has a hospital that's in our state called the Children's Hospital. It's basically a hospital for children and teens. And so in this hospital, there's a studio called Star Studio, and it basically runs the TV show of the hospital. They have their own network, and it's just broadcasted internally, nothing outside the hospital, but it basically provides long-term care patients with something to watch, something to enjoy, and it's a really great thing for people who are in long-term care and usually don't experience the same things that they would normally experience because of that. So they often invite guests in. In this case, we were invited in. We did a bunch of STEM activities, and we also demoed our robot. And I think the best thing about this event in particular was that we got to see the impact of the robots and of STEM on these kids, because it was something they'd never seen before. And it seemed very surreal, but also just being able to put that big of a smile on a kid's face is amazing. And that's the big impact that our team loves this event, is because we're able to make a measurable impact in each of those kids' lives for that day. And even longer. I mean, remember one of our students actually built something on the show that was later used for therapy for a kid. So that was really amazing. And it's just things like that that let you, it's not all about the big picture. Sometimes you got to go back into the community and work with people on a smaller scale, because that makes a huge impact as well. First, own our big mission values. Our vision is to make FIRST available for all. And even if we can't make it permanently available, we can at least bring it to that area and get them at least interested and expose them to it as much as possible. And I think that's what the best part of this event was that we were able to model inclusivity at that, and model do what our team says we're going to do, and basically follow our vision.
All right, open house. So every year we do an open house at our facilities and show around families, kids, and just adults who want to come. And we show them what we do as a robotics team and what FIRST is. And we hopefully get them into the program. So on the left side is our Murrah facility, which is a practice field we set up in an unused middle school. This was mainly organized by 2,500 Hero Robotics, but they were in coalition with 5 other teams, including us. And this day overall is just so much fun because we get to just show kids a robot and show us scrimmaging and just showing them showing the kids the game that we do and how much fun it is and how much on a bigger scale than like FTC or FLL. And on the right is actually our own facility in our school, and we call it the lower shop because we have 2 shops. It's the same thing. We invite people in, we just have a great day and tell people what FIRST is, tell people about our team. And actually on the right-hand side of the picture, the female on the right side, her name is Melissa Franzen, and she's a state senator, and we love hanging out with her because she just represents our team so well. And the left guy, his name is, he is our Seagate sponsor, and he is very important to our team because Seagate is one of our longtime sponsors. Overall, both of these days are just amazing, and they really use our mission well because they connect to creating bold leaders who talk to people and tell the people about our team, and also making STEM available to all. So showing the kids that, and hopefully making them or wanting them to join in. And then it just models inclusivity as well, because we want to include everybody. We want everybody to join robotics who wants to.
Sam, can we actually go back to that slide again? I just want to add something to that.
Yeah.
Another huge thing here as well that I think the message that you should get out of this is that your space, your shop is something unique, and the areas you work are something unique as well. If you bring a little kid in there and show them your robot, show them how how the robot moves, show them what it can do. That will do so much more than telling them, hey, I'm on a robotics team. Because they'll get to see that measurable impact, and their parents will be like, whoa, these kids are doing something. I thought a bunch of teens were just crazy, man. Like, we're doing something amazing. And I think that when you bring kids in, it's basically shows people that that the impact that it can have. So Swampfest. This is an outreach event unlike, I would say, any other. It's definitely unique. It's basically an event that our team does in coalition with 5172 and 7R teams, where basically we go up to Greenbush, which is this area about 15 minutes away from Canada, still in Minnesota though, and we basically spend time and camp out there. And basically make a decision, work with our teams to improve our team, all of our teams as a whole. I know in the past our team is not a great robot team. We're okay at outreach, right? But we're not a team that's known for robots. But 5172, on the other hand, is really great at robots. So when we go down there, we gain a lot and we learn about robots. And our teams, we talk about outreach. We talk about I know last year we talked about implicit bias and how we could solve that and work towards solving that and removing that and challenging that. But I think that there's a lot of stuff that gets gained from just teams meeting up. And so while this might not seem like an outreach event, this is a great way to hone your team's individual skills and basically work towards improving your own advocacy and outreach skills. Outreach isn't just a one-time fits all situation. You have to continually work towards improving your skills by giving presentations like this and also by just talking to people. And so when other teams and us are able to see what each other are doing, we're able to improve. And so I would definitely recommend that if you're not meeting up with other teams, that you try to do that and see what they're doing and talk to them. Because first isn't just about competition, it's about collaboration and cooperation. So by working towards that with other teams, we can do that. Plus this event is really fun. You get to ride ATVs and stuff. So you can always incorporate some fun activities in there. And it's just a great time.
Another fun little thing, they like to ask questions that say like pancakes or waffles or what's a sandwich or like is a hot dog a sandwich? And it's just really fun day and a fun time.
Okay, so this is me again. So another thing we do is the Rolling Acres Summer Camp. This is a camp for children with autism. And this is another event where we're able to bring FIRST to people who don't normally have a chance to access it. These are kids who generally higher in the autism spectrum. And oftentimes robots that are noisy and loud are difficult for people like that. Or with autism. So because it causes sensory issues. So what was really great about this opportunity was that we were able to bring robots into that space to show them, to see the smile on their faces when they were able to see how the robot worked and how it was able to function. And I really think that this is a great outreach event. If you have any places like this, camps, things like that in your area, it's a great opportunity to go out in your community and make an impact. A lot of what we talk about is making a measurable impact. And I think that these smaller outreach events definitely fit that bill. This is a really amazing outreach event, and I would highly recommend it to anyone who gets the opportunity to do something like this.
What's really significant in outreach events is preparing for them. So first, if you're bringing a robot, you want to have a robot setup guide. This is like how to turn on and off the robot or how to disable and enable it. You should have 1 or 2 people leading the events with understandings of other roles, so they can help if something goes wrong or they can direct everyone around. So you'd also want to have a 1-page cheat sheet and or checklist. This is to make sure you have brought everything you need, and then you also cover all topics that you want to in all events at the demo or outreach events. You also want to have marketing materials, like I already showed you guys this, but again, here is the trifold. So this is very effective in helping to spread more information about your team and maybe little statistics and just what you guys have been doing over different periods. Like, for example, what we have been doing over the time of with COVID and how we adjusted to it. What is also very important is mentor coordination and logistics, so they can help plan the event, coordinate it, and kind of pick out times and everything like that. Transportation and carpools are also very significant because you need to be able to get to there, and so in your robot and activities also. So, and finally, you want to have a basic what is first elevator speech. This can be like, first is the organization that runs our robotics competitions and establishes the different challenges and different levels of robotics. First runs robot competitions from grade school or from elementary school to high school. And the robots can range from sizes of these big FRC robots to little FRC, FTC, and FLL robots that are easier for the younger kids to build.
All right, thank you very much for this opportunity for us to talk. And now we have some time for questions.
Okay, so I have a few questions from the chat that have come through. So first question is, does your outreach lead to higher recruitment numbers?
Yes, I'd like to say yes. It gives us the opportunity to spread it more, and we do have this thing we like to call like an FTC loop, I guess, where we bring FTC members to some of our outreach, and it gets them interested in FRC as well. And so it just brings like more people into robotics and more people to our team. And so, yes, we all would like to say that it does bring more people to our team and more people to robotics and FIRST in general.
And I'd like to add to that, we have something called a club fair at our school. And so I'm not sure if we did this year, but last year we had a robotics stand, and we can talk to many kids through the high school and kind of introduce them to FTC too, or FRC and all the robotics levels. So I would definitely say that our outreach helps our levels of amount of team members.
And it's not just about our team either, I would say. A lot of what we're trying to do is just increase the presence of FIRST and STEM activities, even beyond robotics. If we can get kids interested in STEM and FIRST, that's a major plus for us. And I think that whether it directly or which it does, but also even if it indirectly affects us or some other team, that's a great thing as well.
Yeah, cool, thank you. Another question, do you have an example of when your outreach may have gone wrong, and what did you do to fix this?
Ian, do you know any? I think most of the time we just plan it out so well, and it's like mentors are helping with us, and like everybody's just so ready, and we have transportation aligned. We use Slack to communicate that. Most of the time it doesn't fail, which sounds kind of hard to believe, but.
And also that's part of kind of preparing for your event, where you have you want to have like one or two people leading the event with understanding of each other's roles. And so with those two people, or with like the main people leading it, they can always help if something goes wrong and make sure kind of bring order back.
Events don't, I will say, there have been a few times events have gone out of our control and that they've turned out unexpectedly. I don't see outreach events as going wrong that often because the outcome is just making our presence of FIRST available and increasing the presence of STEM, right? So we've had events. An example of this is last time we had a Murrah open house. Not that many people showed up that we were expecting, but at the same time, we got to make a greater impact on the people who did show up and work more closely with those people. So I wouldn't say that they go wrong a lot. I would just say sometimes they don't turn out how we think they're going to turn out. I think that's true with any event that a team goes to, or just in life in general.
Yeah, I agree. That's a really good answer. Thank you. Another question, how have you modified your outreach programs to account for COVID-19?
So currently we just did like live talkings and presentations like this. We're planning on going to, so like we talked about earlier with the let me just go back to the slide quick. The Children's Hospital. We're still talking with this guy and hopefully trying to get this organized again to do it this year. but with COVID, we're just figuring it out, trying to make sure like we can even get in the hospital and like if it's safe. But right now, I guess we're just doing presentations and like sharing what our team does and spreading how, like, just helping other people if they need it.
And so yeah, so our last presentation, it was on it was with 2468 Appreciate, and so we kind of presented a presentation a lot like this, as Sam said, and also because a lot of things have been closed down, we were kind of thinking of how we could maybe adjust outreach to be virtual, and it's kind of a process, as I mean everyone's still a bit new to this.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It is difficult to do, but it's just really helpful to be able to complete outreach during this time and connect people with STEM across the world. I'm pretty sure that's all the questions we've had so far. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
We covered everything that we have so far.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you guys for doing your presentation. It was very interesting. And it was really cool to learn about how you have done your outreach and how you've become as successful as you are.
Thank you so much for giving us the space to talk about this. It's been really fun, and we hope you guys, honestly, we hope you guys are able to really, I would like it if every first team was a chairman's team, and STEM outreach is a major part of that. And I just think that I hope you guys learned something, and I hope we weren't wasting your time.
And good luck with the next presentations as well.
Thank you.